do not call registry set up by the FTC. Who can still call political calls, charities, surveys, pre-recorded messages? To be added to the list, just ask. And they have 31 days if someone calls you and you ask them to do that. Also, you can call a toll-free number or go to the website to be on the Do Not Call registry. DTI, debt to income ratio. DU, desktop underwriter, used by Fannie Mae. Due on sale clause. If a property is sold, you must pay the loan in full. Dual tracking. It's when a lender continues to pursue foreclosure while also considering other alternatives. Early payment default. It's when a borrower goes into default in this first year of home ownership. ECOA, Equal Opportunity Credit Act. It's Regulation B from 1974, and it prohibits discrimination on race, color, religion, national origin, sex, marital status, age, public assistance. And the CFPB enforces the ECOA. EEEM is Energy Efficient Mortgage Program. Entitlement, maximum amount that the VA will provide a borrower. EPS, earnings per share, a company's profit or common shares. Equity skimming, it's where an individual or entity acquires ownership of a property and extracts the equity through a refinance without fulfilling their financial obligations, such as paying the mortgage or taxes. The e-Sign Act was from 2000, and it uses a 6-step form. The e-Sign disclosures must inform customer of the right to have electronic or paper, or to withdraw consent, must make paper copies available, whether it covers one transaction or more, must be given info on how to withdraw consent, must be told what hardware is needed, and must consent that they can access electronic forms. Or if a change in hardware they must be notified. Escalation clause. That means when the lender may increase the interest rate. FACTA, Fair and Accurate Credit Act of 2003. It's a federal law to enhance consumer protections in relation to identity theft. And for identity theft, it allows credit reports, requires fraud alerts, protects the military, and only can print 5 digits of the credit card, and it makes shredding mandatory. That's the FACTA, Fair and Accurate Credit Act. The FCRA is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's a federal law that makes the collection of consumers' credit info and access to their reports. That you have to give them access to their credit reports. FDIC is an independent agency created by Congress, and it maintains the stability and public confidence in the financial systems. And it's from 1933, and it provides insurance to depositors in U.S. banks, and it's paid by premiums by member banks. 1913 was the Federal Reserve Act, and it created the Federal Reserve, allowing banks to make real estate loans, and allowed the Federal Reserve to influence interest rates. 1932 was the Federal Home Loan Bank Act, and it created a network of government-sponsored banks to lower home costs by making credit available. 1933 was the Glass-Steagall Act, which created the FDIC. 1934 was the National Housing Act. It was during Depression, and it established the FHA, and the Federal Home Loan Banks were created to expand credit. There was 11 of them. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Its mission is to support citizens, to promote that we work together to prepare and respond to all hazards, and it identifies flood zones. FFIEC, the Federal Financial Institutions Examination Council. It sets standards and forms for examinations of financial institutions. The FHLMC, Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation. Freddie Mac, GSE are chartered by Congress in 1970 for middle income, and it has, that's it, all it has. The FHA, Federal Housing Administration, it insures loans established in 1934 and became part of HUD in 1965. It's the largest loan buyer, and it has no income limits. It's a mix of mortgage amounts. A non-permanent resident can use the FHA loan, underwritten by either Fannie Mae Desktop Underwriter or Freddie Mac LP. It's a 500 minimum credit score to get the 3.5% down payment. 500 score is okay if you put 10% down. Borrowers can finance most costs. Down payment can come from other source like grants or gift. The FHA handbook is a single-family housing policy handbook, and it's the 4000.1 on their website, the FHA website. Loan limits are based on the area, and it's reviewed every 3 years. All right. FICO, Fair Isaac Company. Finance charge Regulation Z defines a dollar cost of all interest paid over the term of the loan and any other charge for money. And any other charge. That's it. Sorry. FinCEN is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. The Bureau of Treasury collects info on financial transactions for money laundering and terrorist crimes. And they can accept SAR reports. Float is when the rate is not locked in. FNMA, Fannie Mae, the Federal National Mortgage Association, created by Congress, purchases and sells residential mortgages insured by FHA or guaranteed by VA, and residential mortgages. It was formed in 1938. It buys conventional FHA and VA loans, as long as they're conforming loans. Force placed. If there is a lapse in insurance, the lender will get some insurance by force. Fraud alert. It's a notice placed on consumer's credit report that alerts creditors that they may have been the victim of fraud or identity theft. Freddie Mac, Federal Home Loan Mortgage Company. It's like Fannie Mae, but usually deals primarily with smaller banks. Can borrow from the Treasury just like Fannie Mae. FTC, Federal Trade Commission, started in 1914, and it polices anti-competitive practices. Also created the Do Not Call list. Forbearance. So when a loan company agrees to temporarily suspend or reduce payments. Fully indexed rate is the sum of the current index value and the margin in an adjustable rate mortgage. Guarantor. Promises to pay a borrower's debt if a borrower defaults. The FHA, the VA, and the USDA are all guarantors. GFE, Good Faith Estimate. In 2015, the loan estimate replaced the good faith estimate as a result of the Truth in Lending Act. This must be provided within 3 days. The GLBA is the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, and it's basically about keeping information private. The GNMA is Ginnie Mae. the Government National Mortgage Association, and it guarantees principal and interest payments on MSBs issued by approved lenders. It's part of HUD, and it makes housing more accessible. It split from Fannie Mae in 1968 for a totally government agency to be formed. Okay. GPM, Graduated Payment Mortgage. It's a fixed-rate mortgage where payment increases gradually from low to higher. Can grow 7 to 12% annually. GLBA, once again, is the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act of 1999. And it's to protect people's data. And it's also known as the Financial Services Act of Public Law. Requires institutions to explain their information sharing practices to their customers and to safeguard all data. Makes institutions able to collaborate with each other. And it gives authority to the Federal Trade Commission under Title V for privacy. GSE, Government-Sponsored Enterprise. It's a quasi-government entity to enhance flow of credit to American economy. Privately held. Fannie Mae started in 1938 and Freddie Mac started in 1970. They purchase loans and sell as securities and guarantee mortgage-backed securities. They cannot purchase loans that are balloons, interest-only, short-term ARMs, or negative amortization. Hazard insurance. It's coverage that covers fire, theft, and vandalism. HECM, Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. It's the Fair Housing Administration's reverse mortgage program. HELOC, Home Equity Line of Credit. Offers competitive rates, use as needed, unlike a home equity loan. Have little closing costs. Subpart B of TILA. HERA, H-E-R-A, 2008 Housing and Economic Recovery Act brought it on. Improved standards to ensure stability created to modernize the Federal Housing Administration and aid in foreclosures and enhance consumer protections. A key is Title V, the Secure and Fair Enforcement for Mortgage Licensing Act.